All right.
Welcome to another episode of The Charge Way. This is Women in Charge. Woo. And again, I'm joined by the whole crew.
Oh my
gosh. Excellent. Today we are going to be tackling a somewhat potentially controversial topic of training around your cycle. And
not your bicycle.
No, not your bicycle. Training around your cycle and the different phases, different ways of training, all the different things that kind of come with that. So, where do we start?
All right. Number one, should you train differently in different phases of your menstrual cycle? No.
Are we done?
That's it, Dan. Thank you, guys.
A lot of people on the internet will tell you that depending on where you are in your menstrual cycle, your training should look different and that you should lift heavier in your follicular phase and like do more things like stretching in your luteal phase. But there is no evidence to back any of that up in the literature, which is my favorite phrase because I'm a PhD student. In the literature, where you are is going to affect how you feel, and there's going to be an effect on your performance. It might be bigger, it might be smaller, depending on you. But the only thing that really matters is how you feel. You have to be aware of particular things that we can go into a little bit more detail about, but you're going to feel different from like the person next to you. And I know that where I am in my cycle will have an effect on how I'm feeling. It doesn't really have a massive effect on my athletic performance, but it just means that I need to be a bit more aware and a bit more mindful of how I'm feeling. And then I might need to adjust the intensity accordingly, but I'm still going to train. I'm still going to go to CrossFit. I'm still going to train exactly the same, like regardless of where I am, basically.
Yeah, and I think like where you saw this information, like not you, but like when you think, oh, I shouldn't train on this phase of my period, or shouldn't like where did you on that training page the guy that sell the fitness program like you should train different heights like around the month.
And by the way, here's my ebook.
It's my ebook.
Oh look, I'll tell you how to train.
Like if you're getting information of someone on Instagram, and this goes for everything, not just like menstrual cycle training, literally everything. If you're watching a video on Instagram and someone tells you something and you're like, just check if they're selling you something, because chances are they are.
Some sort of ulterior motive is there.
Yeah.
And also like I think the different modalities have different types that you're gonna feel like that. Like in CrossFit, you can feel that probably we have different ways to feel that. Like for example, me, before I get on my period, I just like feel everything is super heavy. I don't want to be at the gym, and but I can recognize that this is a feeling. This is definitely a feeling, and I already know. So I put in my mind, okay, this is not my week, and everything like comes from how I think that I'm gonna train. I don't know if this makes sense for you.
Yeah. Like if you know that, all right, this week is gonna feel tough, but I know I feel better after I've been to the gym and got some movement in, then I can plan for feeling pretty rubbish, like before training.
Yeah.
But like, you always feel better afterwards.
Yeah, but like what I'm saying is we as women, we have different cycles. So if I say like you in your luteal cycle, in the luteal phase, you should train like this. It's not the same for you and not the same for me.
Yeah.
Like you are forgetting an important factor that is like your body. Just like women. Well, women, we are women. That's it. We are not different. Yeah.
But
a monolith.
I mean, it's the same conversation as like some people will get their period and they feel really fine and you can train through it and it doesn't cause you too much issues. And other people will have like cramps and they're bloated and they feel terrible. And, there's an argument for both of those people to still come in and train that day, but maybe that looks really different. Like maybe the person who's feeling terrible is like, I just want to try and move and see how I feel today.
Maybe I do aerobic capacity.
Exactly. Like
check out the program.
There's always options, and I would say like any kind of movement is better than nothing. Like I don't think
you will feel better.
Sitting on the couch curling up in a ball is going to make you feel better. Feels good, but
it might be helpful to talk really quickly. We keep mentioning like the phases of the menstrual cycle.
Yeah.
So basically you've got your 4 phases. Day 1 is menstruation. That's when you start to bleed. That could go for 3 days. It could go for 7 days, depending on you. As you age, it tends to be more regular. When you're younger, it can be a bit more irregular. Directly after menstruation, you enter the follicular phase, and that lasts for about 2 weeks. In this phase, your hormones are pretty low. They're pretty baseline. As you get closer to day 14, which is ovulation, day 14, I mean like approximately, you know, everyone's different. Plus or minus. As you get closer to day 14, your estrogen rises, and it tends to be quite high at ovulation. And that's why sometimes you might feel a little bit of cramping. You might feel some like of your like period like or PMS symptoms at ovulation. It might not happen every single time, but like you might get a little dehydrated, you might get a little headachy, that kind of thing. There's a few other hormones at play, but we'll just talk about estrogen and progesterone. After ovulation, in the next 2 weeks-ish, is your luteal phase. And this is the phase where your progesterone rises, it peaks at luteal phase. There'll be a smaller peak of estrogen, and then both of those hormones will drop dramatically just before day 1 of your next menstrual cycle. So that's why sometimes leading into your menstrual cycle, that kind of like last week, you can feel really like, you might feel really headachy, dehydrated, you might be cranky.
You might feel like you want extra carbs.
You might want extra
You
carbs.
might eat extra
You might need extra
carbs.
carbs. You need extra carbs. And in that phase 2, your basal metabolic rate will increase. So that means that you're running a little bit hotter. You might find that if you're wearing a tracker, your resting heart rate is a little bit higher than where it might normally sit. Your heart rate variability is sitting a little lower than where you normally sit. You might not be feeling as recovered from your 8 hours of sleep. You better be getting 8 hours.
She's studying currently about sleep.
And you might not recover well, so you might need some extra carbs, and you might feel like a little bit sluggish in that phase as well. And that's okay. You don't need to panic that you're getting super unfit, because in 2 weeks you'll kind of be feeling completely different again. And that's why like sometimes in the luteal phase it can be difficult to get yourself to train, because you might be feeling already hot and sweaty before you've even done anything. But like you were saying, if you're prepared for it and you know that you're going to feel this way, then hopefully it doesn't come as a surprise for you.
It's a little bit easier to tolerate if you're like, hey, I know this is coming.
Yeah, and
can be
also
prepared.
again it's like comparison, because if you have in your first day of menstruation you are supposed to feel like this, supposed to feel
The word supposed to.
Yeah.
is
yeah you are supposed to feel like this because every woman they feel
Yes.
like this.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not feeling
every
like
woman is
this on the and you just feel like I'm not supposed to feel very strong. And let's put in CrossFit environment, like we have heavy day, like snatch something like really heavy for that day, and you're like, this is supposed to be my best day, cuddling with my cycle and like whatever, and then it's just the worst day ever. And you start like your expectations was here at the beginning of the train, and then you were just here, I want to give up of everything, I'm not good at this. So look at this mental side of the training so bad, because you have like you're frustrated because you were expecting that accordingly with like some data.
Yeah, if you've got appropriate expectations for that day of training, then hopefully you're not feeling sad.
Yeah.
Like if you know, hey, I'm just going to go in, I'm going to move, and I'm going to just see what happens.
Then the same can be said for the second half of your cycle, where it's like, well, my expectations are that I shouldn't be able to lift weight, I shouldn't be able to do these heavy movements or complex things, and then you're like, wow, I just PB'd my snatch.
Exactly.
Like, how did that happen? That's not supposed to happen. My expectations are the difference again.
Or even if you change your modality, like if you train CrossFit when you're feeling really good, and when you're not feeling good, you go like for stretching and whatever that is easier because you're supposed to feel like that.
Yeah.
So like, how important is this?
Yeah.
I think like probably the better metric is like, come in, do the warm up, like don't put too much expectation on yourself. Like maybe you sort of like, oh, I didn't wake up feeling awesome, but like come in, move, see how you feel, and maybe you start lifting, you feel really good. Maybe you start lifting, you feel really shit. And you know, like either one of those scenarios is okay, but like give it a chance.
Yeah, let yourself adjust on the fly, but try to go in with I would say not low expectations,
Just
but expectations that you're going to do some kind of movement and maybe not worry about the end result that day. Yeah.
But like at the same time, that can literally be any day.
like
Yeah,
exactly.
like-
It doesn't even have to be
I
related
can have
to
a
a
really
period.
shit sleep in
That's it.
the
Yeah,
first half of my
100%.
cycle and be like,
Yeah, totally.
oh, okay, and you still crushed it. And you're
Yeah.
like, maybe I just don't listen to how I feel.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to make, is that like, yes, you need to listen to your body to a certain extent, but then also you need to have these routines in place for you, so that on the days where you maybe, you had a bad sleep or you're a little bit crampy or whatever, you've got all these structures in place and you just have to do it. You almost don't even have to think about it. You can kind of operate a little bit on autopilot and you can adjust on the fly. Like if you're feeling really tired, hey, maybe you're not going to run the Beaver at 100% intensity, but you can still do a good workout.
You were talking about me? You were talking about me, right? Yeah, yesterday we had the workout.
But yeah, no, 100%. Like capitalize. If all of a sudden you're like, oh man, okay, I feel good now. I've done the warm up. Then capitalize on that. Go for it. Yeah, regardless.
Regardless of where you are in your cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like be aware of it, of course. Like it's something that you kind of have to be aware of.
Yeah.
But don't feel like you need to adjust anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like we are in constantly search for getting better, not just like we as a female, but like everybody. Oh, like how I can improve my sleep, how I can improve my performance, how I can improve my healthy measurements, like all this stuff. So just be very aware that sometimes people are just trying to sell you things. You know? They are very good selling you things. So like, for example, we are talking about this, but we are not making money about any kind of stuff. We could, but we're not. I'm very
Is that
like...
new merchandise range?
Yeah, we are very like honest with that, but it doesn't have any kind of industry behind us saying like you should do that or you shouldn't do that. Just like don't trust in everything that you see. Just this gonna, if you train like this, gonna improve your performance. If you drink these before go to bed, this gonna like actually search. This is a true thing. That can I trust on this brand? Can I trust on this person that is selling this to me?
And how do we search, Fran?
Oh, ChatGPT. I guess like we just said to them, like we're having this chat before, because ChatGPT is my best friend, guys. Like I search everything in ChatGPT. Like I like the articles, but I need to be honest with you. Like all these studies are too boring. ChatGPT resume this stuff for me. Like I always do that.
Give me the cliff notes on this.
Yeah. Give me the clip. Like even in a book, like it doesn't mean that I won't read, but ChatGPT just make my life easier. Yeah, I love that. I just love. And still, like every time when you put something in Google, like sometimes you're pregnant, sometimes you got cancer, and sometimes you have everything. Like so, it's really hard for me to trust internet. So you're laughing, but like every day, poor Felipe. Felipe is my fiance, guys, but like every day I come to him with a different thing. Like, babe, I think that I'm pregnant, or maybe I have this heart disease. And like just because I had like I was bloated and I was craving, like,
and Google told you.
Google told me.
And Google told me, and this, like we are laughing because it's true. Like we are laughing just because everybody already felt this in life. So and we're talking about like period and cycles, but imagine how many things that we can talk about like that for female that actually want to feel better with themselves, with their body, with their performance and whatever, and they are buying stuff. Sorry, I think that this was not good, but like they are buying stuff and that just get any results. Because like the truth is, you want results, you need to eat well, you need to exercise, and you need like rest and all this stuff. It's like the basic. But do the basics: sleep, hydrated. Hydrate, sleep, but like do the basic really well, and then we can search for these things. But sometimes you're not doing the basic really well, and you are searching for extra things because you saw someone talking about this that you don't know from that person is
Products
from.
are exciting.
Yeah?
Like you know, like you look at things and you're like, oh, that could be really good. It tastes good. Like it's from this brand that I like la 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 la. But like most of those things are like band-aid things.
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
mostly you probably just need to go to bed half an hour earlier.
Probably.
Keely.
Note to self.
Yeah, and like this is for everything, even like all the gummy stuff that is very trendy right now, like gummies for your hair, gums for your nail, gums for
creatine gummies.
yeah. Like, and if you do your bloody test and you're not missing any stuff, you're not supposed to have extra. Like, yeah, I know that zinco and magnesium is very good, but if you're not missing your body, you're not supposed to have more.
Basically, just have very expensive pee because
I don't have this because I don't have money to buy anyways. I hope that you get like, you want to sponsor us after this comment because we really want. Would be really nice. Like, this podcast is sponsored by some stuff.
10% off.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have no discount code, so
But Alice Katie, if you're listening, please. I'm very like willing to do that. It's still like this is marketing era. We can't deny that this is happening like
and
with everything.
Everyone's really like, I think as much as you try to deny it, people are really susceptible. We like everybody, like that's it. It's so much easier to like buy something than it is to look at what you're already doing and make changes into like with what you're already doing. It's so much easier
It's
just
not
to
exciting.
buy something or like buy a program or buy like a nice coffee drink or
I was like,
whatever.
bedtime hot chocolate sounds much better than I'll go to bed an hour earlier.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I was thinking because I was watching a video once that was this influencer that I love her. She's very like scientific data. And she was like, look at my eyebrows. It's like so big. It's like my hair. Look at my hair right now. I take all these gummies before I go to bed and like, this is a lie. You are not supposed to trust on that. Like, because imagine that you see someone in Instagram or like social media and that person is the way that you want to be. Like, the performance has everything. And like, she's training accordingly with menstrual cycle. And now like, it's constant, like coincidence, but has the menstrual cycle program in her bio, in her Instagram, and like her all these discount codes. And like, if you want to be like her, you need to have these. You if you want to be with this person, just like start questioning yourself. Like, this is true. This is just like a more marketing advertising with sales tactics. And this is, you are better to talk about sales, but still.
I think you should always challenge like what you get told from someone and also think about like who told you that information. And the best way to do it is just try it. As in like, if you have this expectation that you're going to feel really bad the week before your period, well, then maybe you're convincing yourself that you feel like that. But like, have you tried something different?
Have you actually tried training like normally?
Yeah. Like what happens when I train normally?
Period.
And then you have the evidence for yourself. I felt good, I felt bad, I felt otherwise, whatever.
I feel different every month. I feel different every month.
Yeah, that's it. And your performance, like the changes in your actual performance are probably going to be so minimal. Like maybe you snatched 46 instead of 47.
Yeah, like
it's going to be so unlikely that you're going to go from like snatching 60 to like not being able to snatch the bar, you know, anything dramatic like that.
I think like my experience is probably more around effort. Like maybe it feels harder to do those things, but I can still do them. Like
well, that's it. It's like for me, like I always feel a little bit like, like sluggish and cranky leading up to my period, but my performance actually doesn't change. It's just literally my attitude.
I feel a bit tired. And I'm like, hey, I still go to the 6 a.m. class every day. Like, like, sweet, that's just
Today's
what I do.
another day.
I just turn up and you're like, okay, I'm a little tired. And you're like, well, I was tired yesterday because I didn't sleep well. So I was tired the week before because my dog decided to bark at possums all night. All night. Audrey, if you're listening, stop it.
She's sleeping right now, by the way.
And now she's sleeping because she was up all night last night again.
And so it's like, well, like what if you tried and like have you tried like, you know, if you always take like the first 3 days of your actual menstruation off, like maybe try training on those days. Maybe it's like maybe your effort isn't 100% and that's okay. But like maybe just come in anyway and see how you feel afterwards. Like come in and do the workout and see how you feel.
And I don't know about you girls, but always when I see like something, 90% of women feel like that, I always think I'm going to be the 10%. I am in the 10%. 99.9%. I'm going to be the 0.00. I always think that I can be different. Like, so you need to try in yourself and see what works in your body. Like,
So what women were they asking?
Yeah, did they actually
Yeah.
did they
Were they
actually
asking-
did they actually do a study on women?
Was
Yeah.
it like
that's a
3
big-
people and they're like, sweet, awesome, we can say 99.9% say this. Like,
Yeah.
of sample size, what?
Let's have
Yeah,
a
exactly.
citation for that claim, please. I would like that.
Yeah, and
Google
also
Scholar is my
like
ChatGPT.
I love ChatGPT, but like also we need to be honest that doesn't have many studies around like CrossFit. CrossFit.
Yeah.
We're just talking
That is
about
true.
CrossFit, like
Yep.
That is true.
CrossFit, and now like female doing CrossFit in her cycle, like in their cycle. So there is even less. Like maybe I think that doesn't have an stud.
Yeah.
And if you have, please send to us.
Yeah, I'd love to read it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think actually that's a really interesting point. Actually, that just occurred to me. If you, I think, like using your period is a really good sign, is a really good way to kind of measure your like general health as well. Because again,
Yep.
like
Yeah.
the first thing that goes if you are under fueling or
Mm-hmm.
overtraining or under recovering, the first thing that goes is your period. So if you are noticing changes in your period, it is a really good way, a really good idea. And I say good, I mean like it's important that you sit down and you look at what are you doing? What have you changed recently in your life? Like have you started training a lot more? Are you dieting down because you're trying to lose some body fat? Are you in a really high stress period of your life with work or like kids or anything like that? If you notice any changes in your period or like lose your period, it's important. It is really important that you go and see a health professional about that because it can lead to some pretty bad longer term outcomes. So you want to get on that right away. And I think that it is something that is not super talked about. But again, like if you're looking at like influencers online who are like just like wildly lean, there's a really good chance that they aren't actually on their period.
Comes at a cost.
It comes as a cost and it's not realistic for long-term health and development. Yeah, and so it's really important that like if you do notice any changes in your period, like don't just be like, no. You need to actually go and see someone about that. Yeah, sorry to just like lower the important.
Very
But yeah, like it's as someone who has lost her period in the past because I was chronically under fueling. Yeah, I wasn't looking after myself. Like there's like, you know, like that means that I am at a slightly higher risk of decreased bone density. It can affect like, I think it's the left ventricle of your heart. Someone fact check me on that. But there's a whole bunch of like, there's a whole slew of like really detrimental health outcomes. But again, it's like if you are fueling correctly and you are doing like an appropriate amount of training, like your period, like it will affect how you feel, but it's not going to really affect your actual like training.
yeah.
Yeah. Anything to add to that one?
Yeah. Oh, just having been through that myself
Yeah.
too. Like I think I lost my period for about 6 to 9 months from overtraining and under fueling. I at the time felt tired, but super lean, incredibly lean, but it comes at a cost. It
Yeah.
came really, really big cost. And
Yeah.
then it's a lot of work that you have to go through to then get it back again. It's not just like eating at maintenance calories anymore.
No,
It's
you
like,
have to eat in a surplus.
oh my
For a
gosh,
while.
for a long
For a
time for
while.
it to come back
Yeah.
and then for it to be regular again. Like
Yeah.
there's,
Yeah, I noticed
there's a
that
cost that
too.
you don't
Mine was
actually factor
irregular
in. Yeah.
mine was irregular for years after I got it back, and it was only I want to say it was 5 years after getting it back that it started to actually be regular. Yeah, so it was like a
Yeah.
huge, a really slow process.
Yeah.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
get that back. Yeah.
Yeah. So eat food,
Yes.
train appropriately. I know you're all looking at me because like take a rest day.
We are not judging. We are not judging. They don't know. They don't know what you do. I was not like, yeah, but yeah, actually, just the basics. Just do the basic really well,
Yeah.
and then we start focusing and have these conversations that we already had. Like,
Yeah.
so don't like lose your time with things that actually are not really, really important for you. Of course, that you need to know how your cycle works, but it's not like more
Keep
important.
training.
Yeah, keep training. Then your nutrition, your sleep, your hydrate, like the basic. We are not trying to invent something. We are not trying to like this gonna save you from like get old. No, just do the basic.
Yeah.
This is what gonna save you.
And if you're in a class and you're feeling real bad, come talk to your coach and be like, look, Can I
just can't
modify?
today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I
change
don't.
it.
Yeah. I just need to modify this. That's okay. That's cool.
That's what we're there for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't feel bad about having to change it. Don't feel like there's any. No one's gonna judge you. There's no stigma attached. Don't feel like you need to just. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. That's it. Cool.
All right. We're going to wrap there. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Women in Charge. We will be back with the next one soon.
Hey. I think this one was even like better than the last one. It was so good. I think that we are getting better and better with like more